what's up? We got a special announcement on today. So I'll wait for a few more people to come on in. Thank you for being here. Hopefully it's Tuesday. You guys are having a fabulous start to your week so far. We're having a great start to our week. I just wanted to give you some quick updates on what's going on with us during this time of coronavirus and still closing deals, still getting some things done. So we got the camera a little bit far away from it, so I can't really give any shout outs to who is jumping in here, but thank you guys for being here regardless. So let me tell you just about what's kind of going on so far. If any of you guys are getting my emails, you see the past couple of weeks I talked to Andy McFarland, based out of Utah, who's closing over 200 deals a year. I spoke last week to Bill Allen out of Nashville that's closing close to 200 deals a year. So I'm starting to bring you guys some content from some heavy players and heavy players that I'm being affiliated with that's helping me take my business to the next level. And we had one challenge during this whole pandemic time in our 7-figure flipping group, and it was to pull one newbie in and see if you can get this newbie to close a deal during this pandemic season. So what I decided to do, instead of pulling a newbie in, which she is a newbie, I have my wife here. Say hi to the people.
Hello, everybody.
So I pulled her in. She always wanted to know what I do and how I do it and what she needs to do to help me as my spouse in order to close more deals. So I said, during this pandemic, this is what I want you to do. I want you to walk a mile in my shoes and see if you can close a deal within this 3-month period. So during this time, I do have to say that she had a success yesterday. So I am going to talk to her about that. Hopefully you guys can get some information for you all that haven't closed the deal. She can help you. This is just a tidbit, just a little bit, because we're gonna have her on the We Love Equity real estate show on the podcast. She's gonna take you through all the ups and all the downs that she had closing her first deal. I did help, but a lot of it she had to learn on her own, and the best teacher is through experience. So Stephanie, tell me, kind of walk me through briefly how you found the lead. What did you need to do in order to get the lead under contract? And how did we find the buyer in order to close the lead? And then lastly, what was the 3 hardest things in closing this transaction?
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to speak to the guests about my first deal. I would say it wasn't an easy deal. Even my husband here had to say that was one of the most difficult deals, but I hung in there, and it was worth it in the end. How we found the deal is I received a text message from a owner that was interested in selling his dad's property. Dad was deceased and had passed away earlier this year. Got that call in June, spoke with that owner, and it began to work at that time. Mind you, I said June. But long story short, it was quite difficult because even though his father, so we thought it was his house, the dad never owned the house on paper. He lived in the house with his sister, who had since passed, and his brother-in-law, who has since passed as well, for over 20 years. So once they died, they never, prior to that, put anything down on paper. So it wasn't a record. He continued to pay all the bills, the taxes. What we had to do was go back 20 years and show that he was the owner for this house. So it was quite difficult, very difficult.
So what was the 3 things that you consider to be the hardest in closing this transaction?
Number 1, I am going to say the owner now was a son, and he lived in a different state than the house was in. So what he had to do was have family members to help him gather all the information that he needed, and family members were not so happy about him selling the property. So therefore, it was a little hard for him to get that paperwork that was needed, but he was able to get it. That was one thing.
So guys, to sum up, the lead she received was from text message marketing. It was a inherited lead, but the inheritance actually didn't take place. So it was inheritance / probate / adverse possession. So we had to go back 20 years to find documentation showing that they had possession of the property and ownership of the property, and the son lived out of state. So she had multiple things that she had to deal with in order to get this transaction closed. So go ahead. So you said 1 was helping the seller living out of state. That was one of the hard things. What else was something that was hard in closing this transaction?
I would say the other thing was dealing with the title company. It was our first time dealing with that particular title company, because the original title company didn't really want to touch it because there was so much going on with this particular deal, and they just kind of threw their hands up and they didn't want to deal with it at all. So once we found a title company that was willing to take it on, the lack of communication that title company had with our attorney, so that we can let the owner know exactly what was going on. And it was weeks before they would say anything. We would send them things over. Our attorney really had to sit on their neck. So I would say that was really hard as well.
Okay, so the owner lived out of state, inheritance, adverse possession, probate, and the communication between, we had to find a new title company in order to get this deal closed. So we was at one title company, had to go to another title company. And then lastly, what was the last thing that you figure was one of the hard things?
I probably would say just a tad bit of miscommunication as well with the attorney. Just communicating and collaborating with us all as a whole. So he would tell us one thing and not tell the the seller another thing. So that was difficult as well too.
Okay, so this is just a sneak peek. We're gonna have her on the podcast. We're gonna go deeper in depth to go over how to close a deal with adverse possession. If you don't know what adverse possession is where someone lives in a property but don't actually own the property, but they've been in that property and have control of that property for 20 years or more. This was my first time encountering this. As a newbie, she definitely didn't know what to do. So we're gonna dig into that. We're gonna dive into that. So I want you guys to be with me next Monday. The show airs with the We Love Equity Real Estate show. Guys, so I just wanted to introduce and let you guys know, in 3 months, during this time of COVID, she was able to close her first deal, and it was one of the most difficult deals that she's encountered, naturally, because it was her first deal. And me, after doing this for nearly 10 years, it was one of the most difficult deals for me as well. So guys, thank you. I wanted to give you this 2-minute meetup just to show you that you can close deals. You can definitely close deals during these times, and I'm here to help you, talk to you about closing deals, and see what we can do to get you to close that deal. And we're gonna reveal how much she made in 3 months. How much money she made in 3 months from closing that deal. Guys, thank you so much. We will talk to you on Friday for our Fun Fact Friday, and hopefully you'll be on the podcast, listen to the podcast on next Monday. Remember, if you need contracts, You need anything, go to marcusemaloney.com. We even have a 15-minute free consultation so you can talk directly with me, not a representative, and you can see plenty of articles and things like that where I write for Bigger Pockets and some other places, Wholesale and Inc., to show you that I am actually doing it. So guys, enjoy your evening. I will see you on Friday, and hopefully you'll be with us on Monday for the We Love Equity Real Estate Show.